All right. Take two. We're going to try this again because there's apparently a lot of energy swirling around that doesn't want me to speak about my truth, which is interesting because, you know, when you're a human, you feel like this much of your truth matters, but apparently it matters more than we think. Um, so, my truth about why I choose to live in my car is simply because I'm in transition. I'm in transition from the life I had to the life I desire. And the life I had is what we're programmed from a childhood to believe that we want. You know, good job, high paying job, you know, a partner that we can marry or be committed to, maybe have some kids, buy a house, that kind of thing, have a friend circle, all that kind of thing. So, why would I choose to stop working, retire in my 30s, and live in my vehicle? It's because the life I desire isn't the traditional life. The life I desire is one where I can travel, one where I have financial and time freedom, um, a life that I can buy land and build my own house, where I can grow my own food, I can have animals around me. And that isn't what's popular in mass society. You know, we're meant to be workers, we're meant to be cogs in a wheel, we're meant to think that there's some grand American dream, but really it's just like a fantasy. At least for me. I'm not saying that this is anyone else's truth, this is my truth. So when I was 35, I left LA. I decided to pack up then I had a Jaguar, pack up my Jaguar, and with whatever I had, actually didn't know that I wasn't going back to LA at the time. I just packed up and I knew that I wasn't signing another lease. Now, it was quite expensive for me. I did lose a lot of clients that year, but I also wasn't trying to get any more. I was done with the selling myself, with the day-to-day thing of trying to run a business, and I was just over it. I wanted to do things my way. I wanted to do van life, and I wasn't going to wait for a van to do it. So I packed up my Jaguar and I took off. About a year and a half later, I got a 4Runner. So now I got more space for me and the dog, you know? And it's giving me freedom. It's giving me liberty, it's giving me the pursuit of my happiness. Sorry, I'm probably hitting the mic right now. But yeah, this is my truth. I choose to live in my vehicle because this is what I want to do. The life I had isn't the life I desire. And until I get that life that I desire, this is where I choose to be. This beautiful Mother Nature is where I choose to be. I choose to be out in nature. I choose to go from place to place when I feel like it. I choose to work the hours and the jobs that I want to work. Not that I'm forced to work because I have to pay all these bills, because I have to keep up with all the consumeristic mentality, because I have to buy all the things, or because I have a Valentine's Day spouse that I've got to buy something for. No, I do the bare minimum to pay the bills that I have left with, which are just two, well, like four. And that's it, because that's what I want to do. Now, there are those that think that I'm wasting my potential, those that think that I'm wasting my time. Some people think I'm lazy. Some people call it homeless. I don't care. It's my life. I can do with my life whatever I decide. And so can you. And that's the whole point of me sharing this video, is we don't have to do what anyone has programmed us to believe that we need to do. Okay? And so living in my vehicle has taught me so much, things that I would have never learned living in four walls. And so I kind of just want to share. I actually wrote them down. I want to share what those things are. Kodak says hello. um, so living in my car has taught me strength. Now, I was strong before. I was a competitive athlete at a national level. weightlifting, CrossFit, track and field before that. So I was strong physically. I was also strong mentally and emotionally, but this is like next level. If you can deal with the stigma of homelessness, quote unquote, and living in your vehicle, you're stronger than most, baby. Let me tell you, because it's hard out here. Society is not built, it's not set up for people to live in their vehicles. There's a lot you have to deal with as far as identity, so strength, resourcefulness. Man, I've had to pull rabbits out of my hat. I've had to be a magician in this life, so I've been resourceful. Creative living, I've had to figure out how to do things, the way that nobody else has figured out how to do them, in a sense, so I've had to be very creative. It's also taught me humility. Now, that's the first thing I think it teaches you, because when you come from owning businesses in LA and making a good living and having the title, the car, the houses, and all that stuff, you develop a bit of an ego. You have a little pride to you. But I've really been humbled out here, and it's a good thing. It's a good humble. It's not like I'm down and down in the dirt kicking myself. No, it's a good humble. It's a welcome humble. It's taught me non-judgment of both myself and others, because me 10 years ago or me 20 years ago would think something different about someone that chose to live in their vehicle. So non-judgment. Self-worth. Now, this is a big one, because society wants you to think that you're thrown away, that you're a throwaway person if you don't have a house to live in or somewhere to go, and you're living in your vehicle. You're worthless. You don't work, you're worthless to society, most of them. But I have found that I'm royalty out here. I don't care what anybody says. I'm royalty. You're never going to change that about me. It's not what's on you, it's what's in you. And what's in me is royalty. So I've found a new lease on my self-worth. It's taught me freedom. It's brought me freedom to go where I want, when I want, how I want. you know True happiness and joy, not that fake stuff that comes from buying things or shopping or getting a paycheck or hanging out at brunch with your fake friends. True happiness is what I found out here, being isolated, being with myself, finding out who I am, finding out what I want. That's true happiness for me. um, it's taught me how to be a minimalist. I'm coming off of having, the Gucci, the, the Louis Vuitton, all that stuff, and having an excess, things that I didn't use or didn't wear or didn't even see for years at a time. Why do I still have those things? Out here, you can't. You got to take what you can fit in your truck and move on, So it's taught me to be a minimalist. It's taught me receiving help. That was another big one. I've always been the helper. I've always been the one to loan people money. I've always been the one to give out money. I've always been the one to give out my time. And out here, you got to build a community and trust your community to help you with stuff, because you're not always going to have it. So it's taught me how to receive also. Um, it's taught me how to co-create life with the universe. There are times when I can't see my next step forward, and I've got to say, you know what? What we doing? What we doing? It's taught me how to change my thoughts from negative to positive, so that what I create, what my feedback loop gives me, isn't something that's undesirable, right? Um, it's taught me real wealth and abundance. We're taught that wealth is a big bank account, you know, what kind of car you drive, how big your house is. But real wealth and abundance is being healthy, number one, and having exactly what you need to get through the day. All we have is the present. All we have is the present. So anything more is excess. It's for a time that doesn't exist. So as long as I have what I need to get through the day, that's true abundance. I'm wealthy, you know? Um, it's taught me how to live my life, my way, not someone else's life their way. I did that for 35 years, give or take. Now I'm living my life my way. And that I can't put, you can't put you can't put a value on that. And it's taught me deprogramming. It's taught me how to deprogram and disconnect from mass society and what everyone else is doing, what everyone else believes that needs to be done and needs to be attained and needs to be acquired and needs to be accomplished. I've become a human being, not a human doing, you know, and living in my vehicle has taught me that. Now, is it stressful? Hell yeah. Come on now. Life is stressful though. It's stressful living in a house. It's stressful having a job. It's stressful having a boss and kids and a spouse. So everything is stressful, but society is designed for house dwellers, first of all. So that adds a level of stress. Everything in this life takes extra steps, like 50 extra steps. If you want to cook a meal, you've got to get out the stove, you've got to get out the pots, you've got to cook it. Then you've got to go take it over to whatever water source you have. You got to wash your dishes. Then you got to pack everything back up. It's not a stationary kitchen that stays in one spot, you know? So, and that goes for using a bathroom, taking a shower, you know? You have to be very creative on how you do everything, and everything is like 1,000 extra steps. The stigma of homelessness and the judgment that you get from other people. Now, I don't consider myself homeless, first of all, because I think homeless is a mindset. It's not a physical situation, it's a mindset. And I'm not always going to be in this position where I'm living in my car. And so I don't subscribe to that mindset that I'm down and out, that I'm hopeless, that I'm a degenerate, that I'm lazy. I don't subscribe to that. I do the things I need to do. I work when I need to work. I pay for what I need to pay for. And everything else, I give it up because that's not my plan. That's not where I want to be. And then there's decision fatigue. You have to make a lot of decisions every single day. You know, where am I going to go today? What am I going to eat today? Where am I going to cook it? How am I going to wash my dishes? Where am I going to wash my ass? You know, like there's a lot of decisions that you have to make every single day. So there's decision fatigue. So those are the main things that, yeah, it's stressful out here. But all of the good that comes from this lifestyle outweighs that stress by far. By far, it outweighs that. So do I love it? Abso-freaking-lutely. I love it. I don't do things that I don't like. I don't do things that don't bring me joy. I don't do things that drain my energy. So I'm happy here. I'm happy doing this. And again, I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life, but this is where I am right now, and that's what I got to work with. So I don't know why it's taken me so long to post a video about living in my vehicle, but whatever, I'm doing it. I'm doing it now. I don't care what anyone thinks anymore. I did. And that was probably the biggest reason why, because I don't want friends, family. Oh my God, she's homeless. You know, it's like, no, don't feel bad for me. Don't feel sorry for me, because most of the time I feel sorry for mass society stuck in those jobs they hate, with those bosses and colleagues that they hate, with those partners that they didn't really want to marry, but they did it because, I don't know, it was expected of them, with the kids that drive them up the wall. But, you know, like, I'm not saying that's everybody, but that's how it felt for me. That's how it felt for me. So if you feel like me and you want to go out and do something your way, do it. I'm not saying you got to go live in your vehicle like I do, but do what makes you happy. Do what brings you joy, regardless of how anybody else is going to look at you, regardless of how anybody else is going to judge you. This is the time. We're in the age of Aquarius. This is the time where we do what we want, not what we're told. We do what we know in our hearts to be true to us, not what's true for somebody else. Well, I think I'm going to end it here. My arm's getting tired. Yeah, I lost my little tripod thing. So I'm just going to post this. I'm not going to worry about how I look or how the message came out. I mean, it'll reach whoever it needs to reach, right? So thanks for watching, and I hope that this inspires you to live your life on your terms, your way, and enjoy the beauty of everything that comes with it. Okay, I love you.